Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. I'm G and this time I am making the first Descendant video. Now I've been playing the first Descendant for quite a while and I quite enjoy the game. But I do see some flaws that should be improved and also some things that I would hope they would add in the future. So I made a small list to share with you, so let's get started. First of all, let's start with quality of life improvements. Now, viewing down teammates in the mini radar. We already see teammates in it, but whenever a teammate is down, it is kind of hard to figure out where he is unless he is right in your field of vision. Having it marked on our radar would make it much easier to find him out exactly where he is and to get him that much faster. View marked enemies on the mini radar. We can mark enemies to let our teammates know where the target is, but if he is out of our field of vision, some enemies, especially bosses, do teleport and dash right through us, and we have to pan the camera around to try and find them. So to ease this, have the marked enemy appear on the mini radar for us and for our teammates would help significantly to find him and engage with him that much faster. Also, have it so that if we mark the same thing twice, the tab would just disappear. The little marker thing would work like an on and off. Marking things is very helpful, but sometimes we mark the wrong thing or the area we mark is of no longer interest. But we cannot unmark it, which makes players go to there to find nothing or just confuses them. If there is some way to shut it off, I do not know of it. So I suggest marking the same thing twice will work as an on-off switch like mark and unmark, something that Warframe already does and it works fine. In the inventory, have the Descendant level meter work as the Descendant module tab, and by removing the module tab, you can now insert the arc level tab in there to set up our arc settings instead of going to a whole new menu to do so. I really don't understand why this is how it is. Why take up space in our UI inventory just to show our level? Also, the Descendant setup is more important than the weapon setup, so it should come first. Actually, when you see your teammates' loadout, it already is like this. You see the first set, you see the Descendant they're using, and then you see the weapons. But this is not the design that they use on our own inventory, and I don't understand why there's this dissonance between the two. I think this could be changed and improved. In our HUD, put the shield and health meter above the ammo counter. I cannot tell you how many times I got the two confused when I started playing the game. It seems like you copied the division, but made it different so it wouldn't be exactly the same. This was a mistake in my opinion, since health and shield are far more important than the ammo count, so they should be on top. I know this is a nitpick, but if you at least had the option to change, I personally would appreciate it very much. Make ultra-precise vaults work with keys and not with triggers on our controllers. Triggers, at least on PS5, have quite a bit of dead zone, where the activation is an area and at exactly a point. Thus, to open ultra-precise and even some precise vaults is a pain. I think that if we could do it with our keys, that would facilitate the job since they're much more responsive, much more faster. Either do the change or at least have the option to change it for ourselves. Do not show module description unless we hover over them for a while. I cannot tell you how annoying it is to try and find a module or even an item just to have the entire description cover the entire screen. I know on PC this is fine because you use the mouse wheel to move the menu up and down, but on consoles we have to put the pointer above the mouse just to move the tab, or we can put it in the little scroll bar at the side, but it is very difficult to just pinpoint that. So that thing is always on our face. This shouldn't happen. So to have it delayed or have an option just to see the description or not, that should be available in the game. Be able to pause the game if we're playing solo on an infiltration, for example. This would be so useful. I cannot understand why, if I'm playing alone, not in the open world, I'm just doing a mission in an infiltration in a dungeon or something. I pause the game, but I still get attacked from enemies. This shouldn't happen. This doesn't happen in Warframe, it doesn't happen in all other bunch of games, and here somehow it still happens. I think this should be addressed. Be able to matchmake accent planes special operational operation. I know the planes were like every other open area where you land there and there's three other players and anyone can do whatever. What I can't understand is if the special operation or the operational operation are fewer and harder, therefore more suitable to do in a squad, why can't we matchmake to make them? I think it will help a lot to get players to get a group and to do them than to start one and hope the other players join in. This is what happens regularly. This could or should be done even if we are in the open world in Albion. This last one was a little addition given by the recent update that we had that introduced Ancestor mods. We should organize our Ancestor mods by mastery level. A huge help in sorting these so we can find out which ones we can use, which ones we can't, then we dispose of them, or in the future, sell them to another player. That's it for quality of life improvements. Now let's move on with features that I would like to see in the first Descendant in the future. Replace the lounge with clans. Now, I could have just said add clans, but since the lounge was added, following a trend to have housekeeping in video games, I think this could be just changed. Because the problem is, there's not a lot of decorations unless you buy them, and no one can see them. I think that if it was a gathering place for a group of players, that would be much better. We could see who's already in the game and talk to it or join in their missions. Everyone could contribute for decorations. Players could display their trophies and have their own walls and all that. And it will also be a good place to trade among members. The lounge, as is a pretty lonely place, no matter how many descendants we put in there. Group races in action planes. We already have overbikes and time challenges, so the next step would be to have races. Even if it wasn't a full implementation in the game, at least an event would be greatly appreciated for many players, I'm sure. More mission variety that requires crowd control and survivability. All the missions now rely solely on killing lots of enemies really fast. And although this is enjoyable, I think this is a detriment to some descendants that cannot DPS, so they end up not being used, which I think is a shame. So, having to survive for a limited time or hold a certain place for a certain amount of time would help these DPS less descendants have their place in the game. I think invasions will be a good place to start if, for example, we had to hold those pads for a period of time. There's 3 pads that you have to have. Each descendant would have one. After a while, the door would open. Simple, right? PvEvP. Now, if you ever played Exoprimal, you'll know what I mean. Most missions are exactly basically this. You go from place to place, killing everything really fast. Now imagine you are racing against the other team. I think this could be nice a feature to try it out, completing certain prerequisites or challenges would buff your team or debuff the opposing team, like maybe make ice on the other team and they'll be slower, or maybe make your team faster because you got a certain item or defeat a certain boss or captain. And at the end, there's no need for the right confrontations. Both teams would just fight a big boss. A new variation of Sigma missions would be an easy way to go, since they're already pretty much that. But Excellent Planes and Wall Crasher could also be a good place to try this out, since both squads have four players each, and the Wall Crasher requires 8 players to be defeated. Tower Defense. A monthly event with a series of levels that people would have to fight to progress, and at certain intervals we would find a boss. The boss would present itself, and we had to defeat it in order to get to the other levels. A bit like the Summit in the Division 2 if you were familiar with it. The higher the level, the greater the difficulty. This could be a tower in Ingress, a Vogus battleship, or a dungeon in the Accent Plains. But there, in the Accent Plains, instead of going up, you would go down. Just take your pick. That said, Void Erosion should be the best place to implement this, but you would need level by level matchmaking and better rewards to be attractive to players. Because right now, I have never played it, I have tried to matchmake it several times and never found anyone. And because I see no rewards except cores that I can get on other missions like Sigma, like Wall Crasher, I really haven't even done more than just the first level in normal. So just think about it. Last but not least, raids. A weekly event that would have players engage in co-op, puzzle solving, and meta progression with up to 8 players. Mission variety would also play a big role, since holding areas, controlling enemies is a great part of every video game that has raids. This would also be a big differentiator, since Warframe, which I believe is your biggest competitor, doesn't have this at the moment. So that's it. That's the video, just ideas that have been bubbling up in my mind. If you have other ideas, please comment down below in the comment section. I would like to hear them. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe so I can continue to do them. And as always, have a great game, guys.